Hello, and welcome to Lessons in Logos with Dr. Philip Marshall. I'm a professor of biblical languages at Houston Baptist University in the Department of Classics and Biblical Languages. We call it CABLE for short, and there we focus on the biblical languages, Hebrew, Greek, Aramaic, and then we also specialize in Latin too, since we do classics as well. My goal and aim in all of my teaching, and really in all that I do, is really threefold. It's to equip others to study God's Word, and then to do it, and then to teach it to others, much in the same way as Ezra did in Ezra 7:10. So in this video series, I highlight a feature of Logos Bible software and demonstrate how Logos users can take advantage of this extremely powerful program to enhance their personal Bible study, their message preparation, and their academic research. And so today's the day that I'm launching the Lessons in Logos series. And so this is my maiden voyage, as it were. My own history with Logos Bible software, I guess you could say, is long and checkered. I started using Logos as an MDiv student during my days at Westminster Seminary in California. This would have been back in the late 1990s. But when I started graduate studies in 2000 or 2001 and ended up moving to Kentucky, I met a fellow PhD student a few years later, and he actually lured me away from Logos and sold me his used copy of Gramcord. And so I got onto Gramcord and used that for my software searching and research for almost 10 years. I switched back to Logos in 2009, but a lot of things had changed and changed for the better. And so I had a lot of catching up to do, but discovered that Logos was amazing, and even more amazing than what it had been before. So I use Logos regularly now, since then, 2009. So it's been well over a decade that I've used it for my own personal Bible study, for the preparation of messages, Bible studies, talks, sermons that I preach. I also use it for academic research and for my seminary and university teaching. So well over a decade of continuous use. In fact, I don't think that I would be exaggerating to say this. I don't think a day goes by where I do not use Logos Bible software in some form or fashion, either accessing it from my my desktop application or using it on one of my mobile devices with the Logos app. I love this software, and I love not only what it does, but I love what it allows me to do when I sit down to prepare my own Bible studies and sermons, lectures for my classes, and research for my own academic writing. It simply is amazing. But over the years, I have had students, congregation members, academic colleagues tell me that they own Logos Bible software, but they are rather intimidated by it. And one of the reasons for that is that there's so much that it can do that they don't really know where to start. Or while they know the search capabilities are practically nuclear strength, they don't really know how to go about getting all of that data out of the software. How do you do it? What are the steps that they need to take? So they end up not taking advantage of the resources that they have at their fingertips. So alas, they spend very good money for Bible software that lies dormant on their computers or that they just use for reading their Bible. Now, there is absolutely nothing wrong with reading your Bible. I promote it. I think it's an important practice. But buying Bible software to the tune of hundreds or thousands of dollars just to use it to read a Bible is very impractical. It's not a good use of resources. It would be sort of like purchasing a $30,000 SUV and then only using it to take naps in or to listen to the radio or the CD player or whatever the stereo system of your choice is. It may be awesome to take naps and listen to that sound, but it's not really worth $30,000 of your money. And that is why I wanted to begin this series called Lessons in Logos. If you own Logos, you own the best or one of the two best Bible softwares in the world. And I want to help you get the most out of what you have. I want to help you take your Bible study to the next level, to take your research to the next level, to take your studies to the next level. These videos are designed to help you do just that in manageable chunks so that you don't feel overwhelmed. And so my plan is to try to release a video every 1 to 2 weeks. So if you'll make use of the subscribe or sign up button, you'll be notified whenever new content becomes available. And then you can watch another video and get another tip, learn about another feature or benefit of the software. Well, for the rest of this video, what I want to do is give you a little demo of some of the things that Logos Bible software can do for you, and which I trust will whet your appetite to know more about how you can use this amazing resource for Bible study. This is not going to be technically a tutorial, because I'm not going to slow down to really walk you through bit by bit what to do with each step. It's really more of a broad overview demonstration of some of the powerful and time-saving things that Logos Bible software can do for you. So let's take a look at the software itself and see some of these really cool features. I want you to notice that there are two buttons over here. One is called the home button, and then over here you see the library button. The home button, if you click on it, will take you to curated material by Logos. Now, if you want to actually start opening resources, then you're going to want to click on your library buttons here. So let me click on that. So first things first, let me open up a couple of Bibles, okay? I'm going to click on LEB here for the Lexham English Bible. And notice that it's opened up a window right here. Now, let me grab another tool, the Faith Life Study Bible. And notice that it has opened up a window beside the other one. Now, I'm going to open up a couple other things here. All right. Now, one thing that you can do with this software that is really wonderful is you can ask the resources if they are of the same sort and follow the same order. You can ask them to basically follow each other. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this little button right here. And this is the resource panel menu. And I'm going to click on link set. I'm going to just click A. And then I'm going to click the same thing and click the same letter. And you'll notice that if I go to chapter 20, let's say I go to the book of Acts, that I'm there in the book of Acts as well. So these two are going to go wherever the other one goes. Now I can go to the Gospel of John commentary, and I can click my my resource panel menu and click the same letter A there and grab the Faith Life Study Bible, and I can do the same thing. And now, wherever I am in my Bible, anything on the left that's got the same resource link letter is going to go with it. This Faith Life Study Bible, these are study notes, sort of like a study Bible would have at the bottom. And as I go down, here I am at 2:15. You'll notice that that this has gone along with it. So very cool to be able to have these linked together. Now, if I double click on a word, it will automatically open up my preferred resource for Greek word study, and that's the BDAG lexicon. And so it is a Greek language resource, but it does provide lexical information about the meaning of that word and how it's used in the Greek New Testament and early Christian literature. So when I was just working with hard copy materials, a paper New Testament or a paper English Bible, and had Greek lexicons, if I wanted to look up the word for breakfast, I had to figure out what was the Greek word here and grab the Greek New Testament. And then I would have to, and it was eating breakfast here, and then I would have to remember my alphabet and break open this really thick BDAG lexicon and find my way here. It could have taken me 2 or 3 minutes to do it. But you notice when I double clicked here, it just took us not even a second. So it's remarkably fast and able to get you where you need to go really, really, really quickly. And let me just show you something else. Maybe you've heard that in John's Gospel in chapter 21, verses 15 through 19, that little pericope, that passage, Jesus is restoring Peter to public ministry. And this is all on the heels of Peter's denial of Jesus, right? And what Jesus does is he interacts with Peter, and he asks Peter 3 times, "Do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me?" And perhaps what you've heard, maybe remember from a sermon, is that the first 2 uses of the word love in "Do you love me" are the Greek word agapao. But then the 3rd time Jesus asks that question, he actually uses a different Greek verb, phileo. Do you love me? All 3 are translated as love in the English Bible. And perhaps you've also heard it suggested that agapao is a different kind of love than phileo, that agapao is a higher love, it is a more selfless love, it is a more godlike love, and phileo is not quite as strong a term. Well, hearing something like that, you might decide, well, it'd be really good to actually study these words for love and to try to come to my own conclusions about whether their meanings overlap or whether there is some really significant differences. I'm not going to tip my own hand as to what I think about that as much as to show you that using Logos Bible software, you can actually begin to do your own study and to come to some of your own conclusions. So one thing we can do is we could look up love as the word agapao. And so what we would do is we'd go to the first instance, as I mentioned, the first 2 questions that Jesus poses when he asks, "Do you love me?" Those are using agapao. So we can right-click on the word love here, and the lemma agapao is going to be chosen by default. Now, the lemma is the most basic form of the word, the kind of form that you would see if you look this up in a lexicon. And so lemma is highlighted. So on the right, all the options related to the lemma will be here for you. And what we want to do is we want to go to the search section underneath the lemma. This is often described as the context menu for the word that we've right-clicked on. And we want to click on Bible. We're going to do a search through this Bible for all the places where the lemma agapao, the verb for love, occurs. So let's click that and see what our search results pull up. Now, this is the search results window. What I'm going to do is I'm going to float this panel, which means I'm going to detach it from the window that it's sitting inside. So I'm going to click on the 3 buttons here at the right. This is the resource panel menu. I'm going to go down to float this panel, and that way we can see things a bit easier here. And notice that the Bible version from which we click to make that search will be on the left-hand side here. And then I can choose other versions to put here. So I've got the Nestle Aland Greek New Testament so that I can see those side by side. And you'll notice that it highlights for us each occurrence of the verb agapao, the English version, which is love here in all these cases, and then the forms of agapao in the Greek. And this is finding for us every single occurrence of that verb in all of its forms throughout the Greek New Testament. So there's different ways to view this, but seeing the 2 side by side is great. Let's say you don't really want the Greek New Testament because maybe you're not working in the Greek New Testament. You can switch your Bible version to others. So we could do ESV, for example. and get the ESV up. There it is. And I could also add another version if I wanted to. Let's say KJV, for example. So I can actually pull up 3. So however many you want to put in here, you can do whatever you want, okay? So that's pretty neat. So let me go back to just doing the NA 28, which is the Greek New Testament. All right, and so if I wanted to, then I could just scroll down these and look at all the uses, and it's going to take me all the way through the whole New Testament to Revelation 20, verse 9. That's the last time that Greek verb is used. All right, so very good. Now, one other interesting feature that I've really liked about Logos Bible software is something called the Bible Word Study tool. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to right-click again on the word love here, that one that we know as agapao, and we're going to pull up the context menu. But here, instead of going to the search bar, I'm going to go to Bible Word Study. I'm going to click on that, left-clicking, and I get this interesting ring, okay? And notice that I've got the ESV translation here. Now, what is this? I'm going to walk through a couple of things here that we see on this. Let me move that over just a hair, give ourselves a little bit of room. The first thing here is there is a density graph. Okay, so on the top section of this, when we're looking under translation here, there's other things that you can look at, and we'll save that for another video. But we're just looking under the translation tab. Expand that, and this is a density graph. What that's going to do is it's going to provide us with all of the word occurrences of the Greek verb agapao, to love, in every book in the New Testament. So if I put my mouse over there, it tells me, well, first there's 143 occurrences, which we saw earlier. But notice Matthew has 8 of those. And when I left click on it, it's going to pull up a graph Bible search results window. And it gives me 4 different options for graphing the results. Now, notice there's a bar graph here for Matthew. Mark has 5 occurrences out of the 143, Luke 13, John 37, and it just sort of walks you all the way through. So you can, at a glance, get a sense visually of how that word is distributed in the New Testament. But then when you click on anywhere on the bar graph, it opens up this. And so there are different ways of showing these results. The bar chart, the column chart, and then the pie chart. Now, since we're dealing with 27 books, the pie chart's not very helpful, except for maybe showing that 1 John and the Gospel of John have the most occurrences compared to all the other books. I find that either a column chart like this or a bar chart like this is helpful if you're comparing books of the Bible. And really, the one that goes up and down like this is a little bit easier to navigate than the column chart, because you've got to slide your bar over. You can't really see everything unless you expand your window. So that's a pretty nifty feature. If we go back now to the left-hand side, you've got this ring section here. And what that ring section is going to do is it's going to provide you with all the ways your particular English Bible glosses that Greek word. And so for love, as you can see, we really don't have a whole lot of choices, right? Either love, loved, and loves as forms of a verb, or as the passive participle beloved. Those are really the only choices for the way agapao is translated in the ESV Bible. Now, that brings me to the next section here, and that is that this is specifying the ways the ESV translates agapao. That doesn't mean that other translations do all the same things. So you could change the translation that you want to sort out and see if it does something different with those words that you're looking at. So let's just make a change here. And we've got ESV open right now. Let's change it to the NIV. And let's see what the NIV does here. There's a few more options with the NIV here, as you can see. So what can you do with this? Well, we can click on that particular set of glosses, and then what it'll do is it will pull up those Bible verses for us to see exactly what we've got. So let's click on longed. This is the one verse in the NIV where the word agapao is used not with the sense of love, but longing. 2 Timothy 4:8. Jesus will reward to me on that day, not only me, but also to all who have longed for his appearing. This is the verb that is normally translated as loved. So you can get some interesting differences among the English translations when you do that. Now, what we could do is go back and we've done these things for agapao. Let's do them for phileo, the other verb that means to love. And we can do these real quickly now, since we've done this once. It's the third occurrence where Jesus uses the word phileo. And so here, Simon, son of John, do you love me? Let's right-click on that, and let's do the Bible search and pull up all the occurrences of love as the Greek verb phileo. There are 25 search results. We could also do a word study, and so let's go here. And so verse 17 had the word phileo. We're going to right-click and do our Bible word study for this particular word, and notice that it's going to put this one for phileo next to the one where we did it for agapao. And that's one thing that Logos tries to do. It tries to intuitively put similar things next to each other for you. Sometimes that's good. Sometimes you want them side by side in a different set of windows. So we'll talk about that some other time. But anyhow, notice that phileo generally is translated love, loved, and loves, just like agapao is. And then there's kiss, not so frequent. If we want to, we can click on kiss and see that there are 3 occurrences in the Greek New Testament where phileo is rendered kiss and not love. And those happen in the Synoptic Gospels, all with respect to Judas, the betrayer, and the kissing Jesus. All right. And just like, well, and if we wanted to look at all the other occurrences, then we'd click the blue part, and then you'd get them from Matthew all the way to the end. Okay? So all the way to Revelation 22. Now remember, we have this density graph here. If you're looking, you can see that this area right here has the most occurrences, and that is John. And that he comes in with 13 out of the 25 total in the Greek New Testament uses of phileo. And then if we click on our density graph, we get this chart, right? And you can change these into bar charts that go like this. Now, if you remember, we had our other bar chart for agapao. This one is for phileo. And so we can do a little bit of comparison here, can't we? Back to this one, we had 142 uses of agapao. We had 25 uses of phileo in the Greek New Testament. Regarding the bar chart, notice that you see agapao in every book of the Bible. In phileo, it only occurs in 7 books of the Bible. And so not quite as big of a distribution. With respect to agapao, John and 1 John have the greatest number of occurrences. And so you can see that in the Johannine literature, agapao is quite frequent. And then in phileo's case, John and Matthew are the 2 books where it happens the most frequently. Those are just a few of the things that you can accomplish with Logos Bible software. There really are so many different things that you can take advantage of through Logos to enhance your own personal Bible study and research. As I mentioned, in subsequent editions, I will actually walk through in a more careful fashion what some of those things are and actually show you how to take advantage of those things that Logos can do for you. Well, I do want to thank you for joining me for this inaugural edition of Lessons in Logos. If you'd like to be notified every time I release new content, including new Lessons in Logos videos, then please subscribe by hitting that subscribe button. If you'll follow us on our HBU Classics and Biblical Languages department social media platforms, then we'll always announce new editions of Lessons in Logos there as well. Oh, and just a little tease for the next edition. My launch of the Lessons in Logos series coincides with the launch of a brand new version of Logos Bible software, Logos 9, which was actually released just yesterday. So next time we'll take a look at Logos 9 and some of the new features in that. Until then, I'm Philip Marshall, wishing you every blessing as together like Ezra, we set our hearts to study, do, and teach God's Word.